Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Hello, everybody. How the heck are you? It is I, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, and I'm here to actually cook up another episode that is the Kim Hoang Podcasting Experience for your dining pleasure. Yes, I am the chef, and I am the man that's behind the kitchen and making it happen. Today, though, I am not here. Once again, I am recording remote, so I'm not in the Asian Sensation Studios. Lots of things basically got busy today, so I had to be around and about. But that doesn't mean that I don't have my equipment ready for the recording and ready to do what I do best, you know what I mean? So you better believe it, man. You better believe it. I'm here, and it's great, and, although I will have to say the weather today did not start out as well as I thought. It was not favorable. As you know, I've complained and vented about the fact that I am an Asian man, and as an Asian man, we are warm-blooded people. You know, we are tropical people. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the weather when it does, fit my style, you know what I mean? But this coldness, though, I'm not down with the business, man. This stuff is just amazingly bad. And I just want to say for the record that, although it was cold and I did hate it, there was a little bit of a forgiveness when it started to warm up a little bit. But now, it went back to cold. And honestly, I am not liking it. I am the kind of guy that, give me my sun, give me my warmth. I would like it to be at least maybe 70 degrees and no higher than 90. If it gets higher than 90, so be it. But, I'm a warm-blooded individual. I need my warmth and I need that energy. This is just a little bit of a downfall for me, in my opinion. I'm not a cold weather guy. I don't like the gray skies. It is very, very disturbing for me. So I can't handle it, dude. I just can't. No way. Hector is actually not here today, but he did give me some notes. And, one of the notes is a big announcement that we have in regards to our podcast. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. This is something that's been happening for the past few episodes, and we were just trying it out on a trial basis. We were not sure, how well it would be well received, if we could implement it. But we seem to be doing pretty well, and I'm pretty happy about it. And I would like to report that our official announcement is that now you guys, the audience, can interact with the show, with the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, by asking us a question. Now, there are ways and methods that you can do it, and there are three main ways. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of what you can do in order to interact with us and send out your questions. Number one, if you actually listen to us on Spotify or Spotify for podcasters, make sure that you go in and locate our podcast show. Listen to an episode, and in the episode, there's going to be a little link or a little area where you can enter the Q&A form, the Q&A section. And all you have to do is enter in the Q&A section and type in your question. Make sure that you don't forget to leave your name and where you live, like where you're from. Like, is your name John and you're from Washington, D.C.? Or are you James from London, England? Are you Tanaka from Tokyo, Japan? Or are you Manuel from Mexico City, Mexico? Be specific. Give me names and give me your location. Let me know what's going on. Most importantly, leave your question and then make sure that you send it out. And that's the sure direct way that it will actually be addressed. Number 2, you can go to our social media pages. You can either go on X, formerly known as Twitter, and you can tweet me your question, and you can send that tweet at TKHPC Experience. And, we can go from there. Same thing like if you have Instagram, if you find us over at TKHPC Experience, you can actually message me a question. So there you go. Number 3, you can actually email me at our Gmail account, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. That's, once again, that is THEKIMHOANG podcast experience at gmail.com. Under the subject box, you can just type in I have a question, and in the body, ask your question, and then just give me your name and your location of where you're from. And that's pretty much it. Now, this is the most important piece. We have 2 rules. Number 1, we ask that you don't ask any questions on or about religion. And number 2, we ask that you don't ask any questions on or about politics. Those are the 2 things that we avoid here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience like the plague. They are 2 ingredients that do not mix at all. It's like oil and water. It's a bad mixture. And that's just like a recipe of disaster waiting to happen. I mean, we're talking about arguments and here and that and everything, and people saying things that they shouldn't say. And we just won't tolerate it. We won't tolerate it at all. It's one of those things that we feel like we're setting the rules and the guidelines, and this is what we want. Now, you can ask us about anything else. I mean, you want to ask us about music, about movies, about video games, about comic books. If you want to ask about sports, martial arts, about cooking or good restaurants, etc., or what we think about this actor, or what do we think about this, and this, we got you there. But we are not, and I repeat, we are not going to touch on religion and or politics. That is a big no-no. We don't want to do it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't even want to be around it. You know what I mean? If you want to be around it, hey, there are other podcasts out there that do deal with religion and with politics, and much respect to them because, they do what they do. But guess what? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So therefore, let the good times roll, ladies and gentlemen. I have a random thought, though, before I actually jump into the first segment of the show. Earlier today, was actually eating lunch over at a nearby shopping mall. And already, not even in December yet, I'm hearing Christmas music over on the intercom. And they're playing a lot of great, classics, a lot of great Christmas music that you can think of. And this was at a mall 20 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. called the Westfield Montgomery Mall in Bethesda, Maryland. And no, they were not playing any Mariah Carey, that all I want for Christmas is you. No, they didn't play that. So I know there's a lot of people that are really disturbed when that plays. But let me tell you something. They were playing all the good jams and everything, and I got to be honest with you. It really got me in the mood, in the festive field, just because of the fact that, the next big holiday is Christmas. For those that don't celebrate Christmas, it's Hanukkah. It's the holiday season, and I feel good. I mean, to me, it just tells me that number 1, time is passing, but number 2, most importantly, that during the holiday season, it's festive. It's a great time. People are loving one another. We are celebrating about just being generous and charity towards good, with goodwill towards men and women and others. You know what I mean? And I just really can't wait. I know that, I do love Christmas. I do love it. I love it a lot. And I'm just going to celebrate it the best way that I can. And if I can see a lot of good friends, along the way, to spend some time with them, it'll be awesome. If family actually contacts me and say, hey, we want you to head out over to the family Christmas party, I'm not like I'm going to turn it away, but I'm not worried so much about that. I'm not really expecting it. I'm just, I'm going to be living my life, doing my thing, enjoying the holidays, and just, once again, appreciating life for what I have. So, yeah, it's all good in the hood. I want to go ahead and talk a little bit today, start it off, about, mistakes. And by that, I mean, mistakes in the perspective of just, podcasting. Now, I know people, when they say mistakes, it's, it can be very general, and you're right. Definition of a mistake is basically an action or judgment that is misguided or, wrong. Let me tell you something. In a general sense, mistakes are a very common thing, and it happens very often, more than you realize. It's very common to the point where, it's like the comparison of drinking water. It is an everyday common thing, a regular occurrence. You know what I mean? And studies show that, a lot of people, make that mistake because it was just, once again, they misjudged something, they underestimated something. Maybe they were a little bit nervous, or maybe they were trying to avoid something that they thought they could have avoided, and they didn't. Now, I'm only going to be talking in the context of podcasting. I'm not going to be talking about anything else but in the context of podcasting, because I want to touch specifically on that and that alone. If you want to talk about, mistakes in general, that could be for another possible episode of the podcast. I don't know right now. I definitely would have to talk to Hector and my team. That's something that we would have to really feel comfortable about. We do feel comfortable about this, about making mistakes on, when on the application of recording a podcast. And let me tell you something, guys. From this perspective, it is okay to make mistakes. It really does. It happens a lot. There are some things that, we always try to do so well, but yet at the same time, there's certain things that, we just knew possibly could happen, but we're hoping that it didn't. That we might have gotten one message across, but we say it in the way that is different from what we wrote on the script or how we remember it. There are times where, we actually might do something by mistake, and it just, kind of ruins the vibe a little bit. It doesn't to me, but I'll give you like a real specific example. There'll be times that I would actually go ahead and talk, and I would try to get my point across, and then for some weird reason, I scratch my throat and go, or I start coughing like, like really loud and so forth. And yeah, it is a mistake. Technically, it is. Because it's one of those mistakes where it's just like, I didn't mean for that to come out. But there are some things, that you can't control. And health-wise, like that, it does happen, and it's uncontrollable. So, sometimes in that respect, if you start to cough, or if you start clearing out your throat, or you sneeze, you can't really help that. That is okay. That does happen from time to time. Another, like a thing like I'm going back to now, like, when you start saying something and you say something else, although you meant this way, it's okay. Sometimes we look at the script, or we just try to remember it the best that we can, and we just kind of switch the arrangement and transpose our words. Now, it doesn't mean that you didn't get your point across, but you probably didn't get your point across in the way that you wanted to, in the way that you had that clearly imagined in your mind. You thought it was going to go a little bit more smoother. You thought you were going to say everything verbatim. You thought that it was just going to come, out so smooth in the delivery that, all you had to worry about was the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Sometimes we go way off script and we just say things that are off the wazoo. Sometimes we even make a mistake that we forgot to write down, like a piece of information. Ladies and gentlemen, mistakes in this application does happen a lot. And I'm going to tell you that it's fine. It doesn't make or break who you are as a podcaster. It does not discredit your podcast. You know what I mean? And there's ways to go around that, when you're hitting that wall of mistakes and it just seems to stockpile one after another, after another, after another. It's, it's okay. It's not as bad as people think or try to, what they get in their heads. It's not as bad as you want to paint it. Matter of fact, if anything, I would take it like this. I would take it like, yes, I did make a mistake, but guess what? It's okay because I learned something here, and maybe it will help me to come up with an epiphany of many cool things. Like maybe I shouldn't have rushed it, or maybe I should have just followed the script, or maybe I should have used this terminology versus this terminology. Let me tell you something. Like I said, I'm piggybacking to the beginning of this. It's a mistake. It's not something that is punishable by death, and it's not something that's a federal offense that you'll get a prison sentence. This happens a lot, guys. It really does happen a lot. But realistically, there's only two ways that you can go about this. Either, number one, you can actually just continue on, and just keep going like nothing happened, which, some people have that strong ability to do so. Roll it off their back, keep it moving, and continuing on making a great potential episode of a podcast that you guys know that you can do. Or number two, and this is also common, and it's not a wrong thing to do, you can just say, cut, stop the recording, take your time, go ahead and drink some water and breathe, reassess. You know what I mean? Take a look at that script. Was there something that you meant to say, or did you say it, or would it be easier if you rearranged the arrangement of the words so that it makes sense for you to say it in such of a way that it's just smooth like butter? You know what I mean? Just smooth sailing. I can tell you right now, there are a lot of podcasts out there in the world. And I'm pretty sure that there is one podcast out there, at the very least, that has made a grave mistake in some way, shape, or form. And it was caught on the digital airwaves. Now, again, this isn't the first time that anybody's ever made a mistake. And it sure as hell wouldn't be the last. And I tell my friends all the time, you know what? It's okay. It's all right. We're only human. We're here to have a good time. We're here to actually create what we love and do what we do, And at the end of the day, as long as you're doing your thing, and as long as you're actually having a good time with the creative process of podcasting, that's what it's all about, I can count as much as, fingers and toes that I have on my hands and feet, and maybe even beyond, on how many errors that I've had, how much mistakes that I've made. Heck, I've made so many mistakes. I think that if each mistake I made was worth about $1 million US, I think I would actually be close enough to be eliminating the national debt of the United States of America and possibly the whole world. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at it. And you shouldn't be either. Mistakes are okay to make in this application. But I will say this. The best way of success is to try to not make as much mistakes that were already made. Like, if you made 10 mistakes, fine. You made 10 mistakes. It is what it is. But try to learn from that mistake and just keep it moving. And then each time when you make, a lesser amount of mistakes, when you don't make those type of mistakes anymore, and they're just like the mistake pile is shrinking and shrinking, you're evolving. You're learning something. You're really stepping up your game to where it needs to be, and you become a little bit more better. You know what I mean? In the world of podcasting. Now, it is applicable in life, but we're not going that route. Again, we are going strictly through the routes of podcasting, and it's okay to make a mistake, and you can still have a do-over, you know what I mean? Or in the golfing terms, it's a mulligan. You can have as many mulligans as you want, you know what I mean? The do-over button is available and on standby. So if you make a mistake, got to do it again. I did a mistake again. I didn't like the way that it sounded. My voice sounded funny. Did I really do this right? It's okay, guys. Live, learn, have fun, and just roll with the punches, doggy. Roll with the punches. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to hit more things that we must cover in this episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I'm excited, guys. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. We'll check you out in a bit. When it comes to playing sports or performing stunts, safety is the number one issue when it comes to the possibility of getting hurt or injured. So what's the best way to prevent that? By investing in the best safety equipment on the market, Demon United. Since 1999, Demon United has been protecting extreme sport athletes and Hollywood stuntmen with their line of high quality and high caliber safety equipment. Whether you're snowboarding on the mountains cutting up the snow or doing stunts on the movie set, Demon United has what you need, from knee pads, elbow pads, spine protectors, helmets, and so much more. Go to www.demon-united.com for more info, and if you buy their gear online right now, save an extra 15% off by using the code PROTECTME. Demon United.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Welcome back, everybody. Glad that you have returned. Glad that you have, stuck with me and you're still here tuning in. And I appreciate that. I really, really do. Whenever I have people actually tuning in and so forth, and they say that they always tune in and they finish my episodes and, they listen to the content that I put out there for presentation. As a podcaster, it makes me feel good. It really does. It makes me feel like, I'm accomplishing something and that I am definitely in the right path of doing what I've always wanted to do. I've always been a creative person coming up in life. I've always done acting. I've always done this. I've always had, wild imaginations and creativity. And, I never would have thought that, in my older years that I could actually do that through this form. And now that I've been doing it for a little bit of a while, I kind of feel lucky and I feel happy. And I just feel like when I'm creating content for my podcast show and I'm putting it out there for the world to hear, it makes me feel like, I'm an unstoppable force. I hate to say it because I know I'm talking like, I'm some kind of superhero and I got all these superpowers and everything, which I don't. I admit I don't. But it just kind of makes me feel like I'm really up in that, that higher level. You know what I mean? That, galactical level. And I feel really, really cool about it, Now, obviously, I don't have, the powers of, like, let's say, the Silver Surfer, who I think is probably the most awesomest superhero ever in the Marvel universe, and they really should do a movie on him. But hey, in some ways, maybe I might be a hero, just not in that context. So, if this, or I should say in general, if any of my podcast episodes are actually doing something where they're really giving a lot of positive influence and people are feeling good about themselves and they're taking something positive from this podcast or any of the podcast episodes that I've put out previously, then I must be doing something right, and I feel good. I really do. I want to give a quick shout out to one of my friends who had reached out as of late. A really good brother by the name of Terrell Friedman, who has actually been one of my good friends through the martial arts. He's been a very big support, like a big cheerleader, on my side. He's really proud that, I'm doing something creative like this. And, he's a true friend, a great brother, and I love him dearly, Peace and love to him forever and a day. I'm still proud of the fact that he actually tested for his first degree black belt and has earned it. And now I've always called him that he was my brother, but now I can say that without a shadow of a doubt that he is my black belt brother. You know what I mean? We come from the same school, a black belt school, learning the ways of the Muay system of Taekwondo, like our instructor before us and his instructors before him. And, I just can't wait, when I get back into training again, because I know I've been out for a while. I'm getting ready for a couple of, movie projects, which I'm really excited about, by the way. I will be looking for him, and we'll definitely be training, and it'll be good. It really will be good. But just to let Terrell know I'm thinking about you, bro. I hope all is well. I hope that you're learning your new material and just, embracing the new knowledge of the black belt way. And to, I hope that, maybe we can train together again and just work out some stuff together. I haven't trained in a while in the school, but I have been training on my own a little bit here and there. So I'm still, going with the knowledge and going with the flow. So I don't want you guys to worry. And Terrell, I don't want you to worry. I'm still well, my brother. I'm doing good. I'm still living and breathing and walking. And that's all that matters, man. That is all that matters. You know what I mean? This segment, I really had a lot of reservations about this one because I did not know whether or not if I really wanted to talk about it, because there's so many different interpretations and different ways that people perceive it. There might be a commonality of a right answer, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's not, there could be a right or wrong answer, but I think it's more of an opinion kind of a situation. And the term that I want to talk about is something very, deep within a lot of people, especially with people that have a lot of mental, challenges and anxiety and dealing with a lot of mental stress and just, just tough mental health issues or something internally that's disturbing them and that brings them to a real bad place. And it makes them kind of question about their well-being. But yet people say it to them and they try to use it to kind of, help them to be in a better place. And it does. But I feel like it's just kind of, it can in one way and it can't in another, I guess. I don't know. And if I'm wrong about this, I do apologize. I am not an expert in this field, so what I'm basically going to be saying is more of a matter of an opinion. Now, I could be wrong about, these things, and I am willing to admit that. I'm definitely, not the most perfect person in the world, and nor am I the most knowledgeable person in the world, because if I was the most knowledgeable person in the world, I probably would be head of the science department or working in the chemistry department of some, a major company that makes about, easily at least 6 figures a year annually. But I am not that. I am just a regular guy that does podcasting, who is also an actor and is also a martial artist. But the phrase I want to talk about is that it's okay not to be okay. Now, when I hear this phrase, I take it for exactly what it means. And I'm very literal in that sense, that, you know what, even though that you're not okay, even if there's something going on, even if there's something that's so messed up that it just makes you like so quote unquote different, or you're just being different or whatever, it's okay to not be okay. You know, we live in a world sometimes where there's a lot of pressure, man, a lot of pressure that's given to us, that we are expected to live in some kind of like way, you know what I mean? That, and in other words, there's an expectation that people expect out of us to have, you know, this lifestyle, and it has to be the way, and it has to be the perfect way. And sometimes that stuff comes, you know, from a lot of sources. You know, our parents, our family members, you know, of the older generation, and then just like, you know, friends and, you know, and their parents and all that stuff. And let me tell you something. Yes, we try our best to live our lives the best way that we can. We really do. Otherwise, we are not here. We are not here. We are not existing. We wake up every morning and we fight. And every day we got to fight. And it is a dog fight from here all the way from, you know, Tokyo, Japan. It is that long. The distance and the actual length of this internal fight is long. And it is hard. And it is gruesome. And sometimes, you know, when we're not okay, we are made to believe that it is a crime. We are made to believe that it's not a good place to be in, and that, you know, somewhere along the line, we are to blame for that. You know, whatever it may be. And I got to tell you something. That is a lot of pressure to put on somebody. When you tell them that it is your fault that you are not okay. And that, you know, it's something that's probably in your head, or it's something that you did, but either way, you're the one that messed it up. Well, you know what? We already know that. We already know that we messed up. We probably made a decision that wasn't a sound decision. Or we did something that was just, you know, beyond what we normally do. And it just happened. You know what I mean? The point being is this. We are regular people. We are just individuals. We are just people. At the end of the day, when you strip everything and all you see is skin and organs and everything, we are human beings. We're not superheroes. You know what I mean? We are not ones to solve the world's hardest questions in life. We are not the ones to solve the world's hardest problems in life. We weren't built for that. We don't have those type of equation solving abilities. We're human beings. We come in all shapes and shades. We come in, you know, all types of varieties. We believe in various types of spirituality. We believe in different types of ideals. It's what we are. We are human beings. And, you know, as human beings, I got to tell you, we are not perfect. Not by a long shot. People make mistakes. Even those that claim to be the most perfect person in the world, or try to shove it in your face that you need to live a perfect life, they are not the most perfect person in the world. I can tell you that. Anybody else who tells you that they're perfect, they're clearly lying to you. I mean, you know, I don't know one person that is perfect. I mean, you know, I might say that they have a great lifestyle. I can say that. I can truly say that. I could say that by the surface of things, it looks like you really got it together. Or you just are very fortunate to be in a situation where you are. But nobody's perfect. You know, nobody is. And it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay because sometimes, you know, we do things that are just, you know, out of the norm. But it's okay because it gets us through. But somehow somebody out there would like to go ahead and, you know, just poke jabs at you and say that you're you're doing it wrong, or you're so strange, or, I can't believe you're doing this. Why can't you be normal? Let me tell you something. Number one, when you speak of words like that, they hurt, man. Words do matter. They hurt people. They cut you as quick as a hot butter can cut through, like a hot knife that can cut through butter, or like a sharp knife that can cut through a steak within one slash. For real. I mean, dead ass. But to some people, they don't think about that because it's just not in their it's not in their mode of thinking. Because they stick to their guns and what they believe in and so forth. And then it makes us feel really bad. And it makes us develop a very weird mental complex. Even sometimes a mental complex that is so huge and so deep, we probably can't climb our ways out of that hole. Because the hole keeps on getting bigger and deeper, bigger and deeper, and even more deeper, and even more deeper, to the point where you look at it, and when you look at when you look at the hole that where it's first started, at the very top where the light is at, you look at it and you're like, damn, this is going to be a hard mountain to climb. And then we just keep on sinking in that hole. Guys, let me tell you something. I know that, in life, we're going to be doing things, and whether if it's right or wrong, things just happen. And sometimes certain actions of that magnitude, depending on the situation, can make us feel really bad and make us feel really terrible, like we don't belong, like we literally just sinned, and it's forever for certain that we're not going to make it in the good place. And even though I am breaking a little bit of my own rule about religion, I didn't mention about, Scripture. I'm just saying, it just, at the point that we are at, the way that we feel sometimes, we feel like we're the lowest of the low and we can't get back. Guys, I want to tell you, it's okay not to be okay. We are all trying to figure our way out. We're all trying to figure our place in the world. And it's hard. It is a tough road, man. This type of situation, we should really band together because it affects a lot of people. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or if you're 75 years old. Stuff like this happens. Mental health in a bad way can happen, and when it triggers the wrong person, it triggers them bad in the wrong way. I want to let y'all know that it's okay not to be okay. If you mess up, it's fine. If you're feeling terrible, it's fine. The one thing that at least you did is that you recognize that there's something going on. That you're not okay, that you're not well. That it might require you to seek assistance in some way. Either those who are professionally equipped to deal with it and have the knowledge to do so, or at the very least, having support of a good friend. And you know what? It's okay not to be okay. You don't have to be perfect. You really don't. It's okay not to be okay because we all are people trying to live the life, and we're not going to get it right. We aren't. The only thing that we can do is work on it, on trying to have the right intentions in order for it to possibly be right. That's just all. And it just kills me sometimes when people that are that insensitive are willing just to throw the salt in the wound. To that, I just got to say this. You are wrong for doing so. And you're probably going to go somewhere in the afterlife that to a place that you're not going to go. A place that you don't want to go. But we can all fix this if we just support each other and love each other. You're telling me that you're not okay? Okay, I understand that. Guess what? It's okay to not be okay. I'm with you. I didn't say that I was going to abandon you. I'm here with you. If you got a problem, tell me. Great. Let's figure it out. At least you said it. At least you said something. Do you want to work on a plan? Cool, let's work on a plan. Do you need assistance that's a higher power than me? That's more well equipped to take care of it? Let's figure it out. And I'm willing to be that person that will be by your corner just to make sure that you're okay, even though that you're not. But, one thing I will say this. Nothing can be solved unless you do the following. Unless you admit what's going on and we find the right route in order to deal with these situations. What happens thereafter if you decide to go to a professional source to deal with that situation, that's pretty much on them, because at that point, that is something that they are well versed in knowing. As a person of the world, all I can do is just give my love and support. All I can say is that, you know what, I'm with you. All I can say is that, there's probably other people in the world that are probably dealing with the same thing as you are. Or if not the absolute 100% same thing, then pretty damn close. You know what I mean? Probably to a close second. But you are not alone. Like, for real. You have people that are willing to ride and die with you, and people to say that it's okay, and people to be there in your corner and make sure that you're not falling any deeper than you really need to, or hardly at all. Because we don't want you to be in that place. We don't want you to be in that dark place. We don't want you to go somewhere where you potentially might go and you may never come back. We don't want that. And I know you don't too. That's all I'm saying. We're going to take a moment to reconvene and take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll close it out with some comments and answer some Q&A. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back. What do you get when you have two undercover police detectives that are underestimated, who utilize their wit, charm, and skills to outsmart the biggest arms dealer and all of his puppets in the region? Then you get the highly anticipated action comedy film of the century, Miscalculated. That's right, starring Romel Xavier Morales, Dameron Kirby, and an all-star cast. Now streaming on Tubi, Discovered, and Reveal. That's Reveel. And now available for purchase on Amazon Prime Video. You heard that right. Now available for purchase on Amazon Prime Video. Miscalculated.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang podcast experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad to be back here. We're in the saddle again, and I have to say, after all of the stuff that I did today on this episode, I'm really happy and I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy of my efforts. And the reason why I'm happy is because even though I am not like the best podcaster in the world, and I can admit that, I definitely try my best. And especially with certain subject matters that I cover and so forth, I do my very best. If I know a lot about it, I definitely swing for the fences. And if there's something that I want to talk about that, maybe I'm not so comfortable in, the only thing I can do is give it my best and promise that I can do my best. With the added note that I will always add a disclaimer to say, I don't really know much about this subject, but I'm going to give it a try. It doesn't mean I'm an expert. It just means that I'm spitting my opinions and letting people know how I really feel about the subject matter at hand. And, sometimes it's like what your heart does, your head forgets. And all I can say is, hey, I'm doing it, man. I'm really making it happen. I'm doing what I can, and at the end of the day, you can't be mad, not a one. So, if for anything, I definitely feel like today, I did my best, and I'm very happy about that. So we're going to move on. I found out that we do have some online questions to answer, and I'm very excited. So, let's go ahead and pop up some questions. We'll answer some, and then we got to get out of here. Pat from Orlando has actually dropped in, and Pat said, "Yo, Kim, so what's your official stance on Asian actors, and do you believe that they do deserve an opportunity and a shot?" Pat, absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely believe that Asian actors deserve their moment in the sun, and they deserve an opportunity, not just as supporting actors, but I'm talking about lead too. It's been a known fact that Asian actors have not had a chance to shine. We have not had anything written for us in terms of being written in for a script. We were never chosen because people thought that we weren't worth it, that we didn't have the talent, and there was just not much of a demand. But, throughout the recent years, Asian actors and Asian people in the movie industry have really made an impact. I mean, they really have. I mean, we can go on about a lot of things, a lot of movies. Some of them made it to the Oscars and won big. Movies like Minari, movies like Parasite, movies like recently Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, where that movie won Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, and Best Movie. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Rich Crazy Asians, that kind of started things back in the 2000s where, the Asian actor, community rose up. And that was really, really cool. And the fact that, we're doing it, we're making it happen, and, we're really continuing to, set the bar and set the trend, if you will, is amazing. It's amazing. And I definitely feel pretty happy about it. I feel inspired. That definitely tells me that, there is always a possibility of things working out. If you truly think it's possible, it is possible, and it will be possible, and the job will actually get accomplished and be done. But it's all it's like every actor in life. It's all about making that opportunity happen, and I'm just glad for those Asian actors that really are helping to pave the way for us and getting our story out there. So yes, I do believe that we will be able to be out there, and we will be a force to reckon with. And I'm hoping that, maybe an Asian actor will be a lead actor and everybody else will fall in second. You know what I mean? And that's not to be, throwing race shade or anything like that. I just want to see our Asian people succeed. I really want to see the Asian people really get their shares and really get their opportunities well. I don't want an Asian person, an Asian actor to be a lead, and just based on the fact that he knows martial arts or something like that, or he looks exotic. No. F that. We want our opportunity, and we're going to get it, and we're going to work hard for it, and we're going to show people we are worth it. Every penny to the flippin' T, because that's how we do things. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good question. That was a very good question. I appreciate that, dog. No doubt. All right. Oh my God. This question comes from Jessica from my old hometown in the town of my birth, Annapolis, Maryland. She actually writes, Kim, do you have any advice for an upcoming person that wants to do podcasting? Yeah, Jessica, I do. And it's very simple. Go for it. You know what I mean? When I started, I just started recording out of an iPhone with no microphone. Then I actually moved my way up to buying a cheap microphone from Amazon Prime and connected it to my computer. And I just tried different things. And then next thing you know, when I found like a little bit of a good formula, I just worked with it. So you got to find, what it is that works for you. And you just got to invest. You know what I mean? If this is something that you really want to do, I think that you'll find a way. Whether if it's by making sure that you get the right type of equipment, that you have the right type of style of podcasting, whatever. And also make sure that if you're going to do podcasting, you better think of what you want to do on that podcast show. What do you want to talk about? Are you willing to talk about this or that? Are you willing to talk about that or this? You know what I mean? It works in a lot of ways. But if you're really serious about it, I think you can get it. It's not that hard. It's a lot of work, but it's not hard. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers that question. Here we go. We got one right here by the name of Nicholas. Nicholas is coming all the way from St. Paul, Minnesota. And Nicholas is asking me, Kim, it is a known secret that, or it's not a known secret, that you have actually worked before in promotions and marketing and traveling around the United States and doing promotions and promotional tours. So, what were your overall experiences and would you do it again? Nicholas, that is absolutely true. Once upon a time, I did work as an independent, working for promotional companies and just, doing things and promoting things for different types of clients. It is a known fact that I have worked as a tour manager, traveling around certain states of the United States of America, and I got lucky. I really did. Number one, I want to give it, I really want to give props to a guy that got my start in that, Patrick McGarvey, because if it wasn't for him, that story would never have started. And I'm forever grateful for him, for helping me get my opportunities and getting my foot in the door. You know what I mean? So I really do appreciate him, and I appreciate all that he's done. Traveling around the United States, working as a tour manager was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, and the most fun thing that ever happened, because I would travel all around the United States, living in, hotel rooms on the company dime, you know what I mean, and didn't even have to worry about, keeping the room clean, because I was just like, well, I'm in a hotel room, so whatever happens, the condition I leave it in, they're going to go ahead and clean it up anyway. So, but I was very respectful in the sense that there's some people that really went overboard, and I've heard stories about that. I kept it fairly clean, you know what I mean? At least to the point that when they saw the room, and if it was kind of messy, it wasn't super messy. You know what I mean? It was very manageable. They could do it, and it would probably be, in comparison, I think, a lot easier to clean and manage, you know what I mean? So there it is. But yeah, I mean, I think that if anybody's interested in doing that and pursuing that, just be prepared that, you're going to be sacrificing a lot of time. There are going to be days where you're going to have days off, times that you don't want to have a day off. And when you do want to have a day off, like during the weekend, that's not happening because that's showtime. So, and if you don't mind, the long hours driving down the roads, the country roads, and going to city and knocking it out and so forth, and just working your ass off, every single day. If you don't mind that, then it's definitely a good look for sure, no doubt. All right, we have another one here. Got a friend of mine, Raymond from Dallas, Texas. Raymond asks, hey, what are your feelings on the Dallas Cowboys, and do you think they have a shot of getting into the Super Bowl? I got to be honest with you, man. I mean, although I'm not a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys, just because of the fact that they are not my favorite NFC team of the NFL, I will say that they're pretty good. You know, I think with the record that they have, you have to respect it. They're definitely trying to gun for that number one position, although right now it's not looking great because the Philadelphia Eagles have it. I think that if for anything, I want to say that potentially they can go as far as the NFC Championship, and if they win that, you know, that punches their ticket to the Super Bowl. Now, who would they face? I don't know. From a statistical standpoint, I want to say that it'd probably be the Cowboys versus the Eagles for the NFC Championship, but nipping on the tails are the San Francisco 49ers. They're hungry. You know, they really want it, and they want to get it, you know, and they got a good squad, and it's a respectable team. I mean, they got really far last season, but they were just, you know, a lot of injuries, and you're losing 4 quarterbacks in one season. That wasn't good. This time they're actually playing very well. They're playing like something is working and something's happening, and I like it. You know, it's definitely going to be interesting for sure. So, way to make me nervous about that question. All right, we got one from Shannon. Shannon writes all the way from College Park, Maryland. She writes, "Yo, Kim, what do you think about crumbled cookie?" Damn. You know, real fact, real true fact. Where I work at, I actually work in a shopping center where a crumble cookie is at, and I have actually tried it and bought it. Now, I can't say that the cookie's bad. I really can't. I think the cookie is pretty good. You know, when you first get it, I mean, it is soft and it is warm and it's gooey and it's delicious. However, it is super expensive. I mean, you know, to buy just like 6 cookies that are the size of hamburger patties, and for 6 of them, you basically pay $24 for it. That's like literally like 24 divided by 6. That's like $4 a cookie. I don't think I could run with that. For all that, you might as well just go ahead and buy, like, you know, cookies from Costco or you know, the BJ's Warehouse or something of that sort. You know what I mean? Or just buy like cookies straight out from Walmart or Target or something like that. It's just ridiculous on, you know, how much, you know, you have to pay for, you know, a certain amount of cookies. It's unreal. I mean, I do see a little bit of the attraction, but then again, I can't. So, that's my take on the crumble cookie. Last but not least, we have another question, the last question. This one actually comes from Jennifer, all the way from Salt Lake City, Utah. Kim, what is your favorite gaming console? Good question. My answer to that question is very simple. I've always been a Nintendo guy. I currently have the Nintendo Switch, and I like it for many reasons, but the main reason why I like it is that it's the most versatile video game console system out there, because, you know, you can play it handheld, you can play it on the TV, you know, you can actually use it as, like, you know, I'm going to place it portably on the table and then take a Joy-Con out and play with it while the system is kind of like on the table on like its own little platform stand. I always thought that the games that the Switch had were fun, you know, and there's definitely a lot of great themes to it. I think the only drawback of it is that obviously it doesn't have a lot of great video games like, you know, the other counterparts, like the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox One, You know what I mean? There's a lot of challenges there in that respect, and I can see where people may not like Nintendo Switch in that regards. I mean, sure, absolutely, you have every right to think that way. But for me, what works for me and what I like, I do like the Nintendo Switch, and I will continue on to being a Nintendo Switch guy. To have like some kind of a gaming console and just to, the possibilities of what it can do, I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? I mean, just give me my Switch with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Super Smash Brothers Ultimate any day of the week. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we got, and it's been a good one, for sure. I'm really happy that I was able to make some great content for you, and that's all I have to say. You can find me on Facebook. Just go over on the search box and just type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. You'll find me on there. Just, like it and add me. I appreciate it. I'm also on 2 social media platforms of Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Find me at TKHPC Experience, all in one word. No uppercase letters, no spaces. It's all together. Follow me and I'll follow you back. We are on 5 different podcasting platforms of Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Now, do a guy a favor. Please like and subscribe to my podcast on all the podcasting platforms. And if you have Spotify, please give it a 5-star review. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give it a 5-star review and a positive written review, because the more times that you do that for each of those podcasting platforms, then it goes ahead of the class. People will see it, they'll recognize it, and they'll want to go ahead and listen to it and follow it and subscribe to it in their own way. Also, do a guy a favor by spreading the word. Just show some brand awareness and spread the word, promote it, whether if it's in person or if you actually share it on your social media like Facebook, whether if it's Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter once again, and or TikTok. You know what I mean? So please do that, and I would love you forever. Last but not least, if you want to be a special guest host, or if you want to go ahead and suggest something and you have like constructive criticism, email me at thekimhoangpodcastexperience@gmail.com, and then whatever the subject matter is, just put it in the subject box and in the body of the whole email. Write whatever you need to write, and then that's it. Once it's emailed, I'll read it. I'll get back to you within 24 hours because I do like that correspondence. We are running out of time, guys. I want to say thank you so much for, jumping in with us. We really do appreciate it. Be safe out there, guys, because it doesn't do me any good if you actually do something wrong and you land in a pine box and you get buried 6 feet under. This is not what we want out of it. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to live life because you deserve it. You know what I mean? Just like I deserve it. But you definitely deserve it because you deserve the best in life, and we want you to be in a good spot. So for the one time, recording remotely somewhere in the heartland of the greater Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, this is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian Sensation, saying thank you very much. I do appreciate it. We're going to run it back, and we're going to do it again. Thank you so much for your love and support. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all take care, all right? Peace.